Have you ever woken up feeling like the day is already lost? What you tell yourself every morning isn't a small detail. It's the script shaping your destiny. If you don't take control of your thoughts when you wake up, your thoughts will control you all day long. Let the story begin. Each morning, you face a choice. Keep repeating the same story that drains your energy, or speak to yourself like someone who truly wants to change. The words you say in the first minute of your day, they're the foundation stones you lay for everything that comes after. Today, I'll share with you 12 phrases to tell yourself every morning. If you're serious about not wasting your life anymore, these aren't empty slogans or shallow affirmations. They are Stoic principles, the same ones that help the strongest minds take back control. If you adopt them, you'll start to see real change, more clarity, more calm, more strength. If you ignore them, you'll stay stuck in darkness, a story to show you why it matters. Let me tell you about John, a man like many of us. From the outside, his life looked fine. Steady job, decent relationship, clear plans for the future. But inside, every single morning his first thought was, just another day. Let's see how much I can survive today. And with that one phrase, he was programming himself for discouragement. He had all the excuses lined up. Life is just like this. You can't feel motivated every day. And so he snoozed his alarm, rushed out the door, and dragged through the day. Evenings were just survival, endless scrolling, empty distractions. Rinse and repeat, the turning point. Then came a conversation with his grandmother. He confessed how heavy life felt. She looked at him, calm as ever, and said, "Do you know what I tell myself every morning?" John shook his head. "I say, today I have the opportunity to live with purpose. It doesn't matter how tired my body is. My mind is in charge." That sentence stayed with John that night, and the next morning, he whispered something new to himself. After John began changing the first words he told himself every morning, something magical began to shift, not around him, but within him. And it all started with one simple declaration. Nothing and no one can take away my peace. Nothing and no one can take away my peace. Every morning, the world spins on, no pause, no wait. The clock ticks, cars honk, people shout. Chaos is constant. But there's still one thing you get to control fully: how much of that chaos you allow into your mind. Think about it. How many mornings have you woken up feeling calm, only to lose that peace within minutes? A message from your boss. Need you to come in early. A frustrated look from your partner. You forgot to clean again. Or even a rude comment from a stranger. And instantly you think, why me? I should have just stayed in bed. It's like carrying a jar of inner peace each morning, only to spill it at the first bump. But here's the not-so-secret truth the Stoics have always known. It's not what happens that steals your peace. It's how you choose to respond. Marcus Aurelius said it best. If you are disturbed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And that's the great divide between those who are enslaved by the world and those who find true power within. So let me ask, if anyone can change your mood in a second, doesn't that mean you've handed them control? Maybe you're thinking, I can't help it, I just react. But that's not true. Peace isn't about avoiding chaos. It's about walking through it without letting it knock you off balance. Imagine your mind as a still lake. A stone gets tossed in. Ripples form. But in time, the water calms. The difference between someone at constant war with themselves and someone who's mastered their emotions is how long they let the waves last. And here's the key: the stones will never stop coming. Traffic, opinions, news, disappointment. But your inner state doesn't have to follow the rhythm of the world. That's why every morning before you check your phone or walk out the door, say to yourself, "Nothing and no one can take away my peace." Let it become your invisible shield. When you accept that your mind is yours, and yours alone, you start living differently. Today is not just another day, it's a new opportunity. You wake up every morning, but are you really awake? Or just continuing yesterday's autopilot script? When you start seeing each day as an opportunity, not a rerun, something powerful happens. You begin steering it. And that starts with one declaration. I am the master of my day. 3, I am the master of my day. Let me ask you something or two. Are your days truly yours? Strange question, right? But think about it. How many mornings have you opened your eyes only to be pulled immediately into a storm of notifications, demands, meetings, reminders of obligations you barely remember accepting? Days that slip by so quickly that by nightfall you're left wondering, where did my time go? And you don't have an answer. You see it now, don't you? That day wasn't yours. It belonged to everyone else. Their needs, their urgencies, their pace. But that ends today. And here's how. Not with some life hack or motivational slogan, but with one simple, powerful truth you repeat each morning. I am the master of my day. Let me share a real story. Not long ago, I met up with an old friend, Andrew. The moment we sat down at a cafe, he let out a sigh so deep it felt like he'd been holding it in for weeks. I don't know what's wrong, he said. It feels like I never have time for myself. My days just disappear. He described a routine of chaos. His mornings began with his phone, work emails, last-minute obligations, random favors. The rest of his day was just reacting, firefighting problems that weren't even his. By evening, he was too exhausted to do anything except scroll through social media until he passed out. And the next day, repeat. I looked at him and asked just one question. Who's making your decisions? You or everything else? He paused, stirred his coffee, and admitted, I never thought about it like that. So I told him what you need to hear too. Your time is yours, but if you don't defend it, someone else will take it. I reminded him of a quote from the Stoic philosopher Seneca. Life is not short. We make it short by wasting it on things that don't matter. That day, Andrew made a commitment, not to radically change his life overnight, but to start small. Every morning before checking his phone or letting the world in, he whispered, I am the master of my day. Then he took a moment to ask, what do I truly want to focus on today? It wasn't easy. The habit of checking his phone lingered. The urge to say yes to everyone didn't vanish overnight. But little by little, something shifted. Urgencies became manageable. He started choosing when to handle things. When someone tried to hijack his time, he remembered, this is mine to give. When his own inner critic whispered, just get through the day, he redirected that voice. A month later, we met again, and this time, his smile said everything. You have no idea how different I feel, he said. For the first time in years, my days actually belong to me. That's the real difference between those who feel like life is slipping away and those who live with intention. It all comes down to one thing. You choose what gets in. You choose what stays out. So now I ask you, will you let another day pass you by? Or will you declare, like Andrew did, every minute today belongs to me? For I am the captain of my mind. And when you take back your day, the next step is taking back control of the one thing that steers it all, your mind. Once you reclaim control of your day, the next step is claiming the helm of something even more powerful, your own mind. Because no matter how loud the world becomes, when you master your thoughts, you master your life. I am the captain of my mind. Let me be honest. Staying in control isn't always easy. I used to be the same. Every time I received negative feedback or things didn't go as planned, I would let anger grab the wheel. Emotions took over, and reason? It was left behind. But then Stoicism taught me something life-changing. Emotions are not the steering
wheel. They're just the wind, and I am the captain. Imagine this. You're driving a powerful race car. You've got the horsepower. But if you let go of the steering wheel, will you reach your destination?
Of course not. You'll crash at the very first curve. Your mind is just like that, incredibly powerful, full of potential. But if you don't take charge, it can spiral out of control. So every morning I tell myself, I am the captain of my mind. Because if you don't claim the wheel, your day becomes a blur, filled with reactions, impulses, and emotional whirlwinds that drag you wherever they please. But when you take control, your thoughts become your compass. Your actions align with purpose. You begin to live with clarity, intention, and strength. Nelson Mandela once said, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That quote isn't just poetic. It's a call to action, a daily reminder that you are in charge of your responses, your energy, and ultimately your future. Let me ask you, how often have you allowed a passing emotion to dictate how your entire day plays out? One sharp word, one change of plan, one annoying stranger, and suddenly the rest of the day is colored in frustration. But it doesn't have to be that way. Real control is quiet. It's not about suppressing your emotions, but choosing how you respond to them. If you let the storm steer the ship, you'll drift aimlessly. But if you hold the wheel firmly, you set the course. So next time the wind howls and the waves rise, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, this ship doesn't move without me. I decide where it goes. Today, I build my future. And when your hands are on the wheel, it's time to sail forward, one purposeful, intentional step at a time. Once you understand that you are building your future day by day, the next piece of the puzzle becomes clear. Learning how to let go of what you can't control. I let go of what is not in my control. Every morning when you open your eyes, you're faced with a choice. Hold on tightly to what's out of your hands and wear yourself down, or let it go. And focus your energy where it matters. And the key? It lies in what you tell yourself first thing in the morning. Think about it. How many days have you started off already anxious? Not because of anything real, but because of imagined situations you couldn't control. That argument that might happen. That coworker who might judge you. That thing at work that might go wrong. It's exhausting. And worse, it's pointless. It's like carrying a backpack full of heavy stones.
And those stones? They're not even yours. I had a friend like this. Every morning, he'd grab his phone before getting out of bed. If a message upset him, or if someone didn't reply the way he hoped, it would ruin his mood for hours. What
he didn't realize was this. He was handing his peace over to things he couldn't control. One day I asked him, what if peace isn't about fixing what's out there, but letting go of what was never yours to carry? At first, he resisted. Old habits die hard. But then I shared the core lesson of the Stoics. Some things are within our control, others are not. True peace begins with knowing the difference. He began saying to himself each morning, "I let go of what is not in my control." Slowly, things shifted. He became lighter. He no longer gave so much power to people, messages, or situations that once robbed him of calm. Because think about it. Can you control traffic? Can you control someone's tone, or a barking dog, or the future? Of course not, but you can control how you react. You can choose where to focus your energy. It's like trying to catch smoke. You feel it, you see it, but it disappears the moment you try to grip it. Control is an illusion. So what happens if today you decide to let go? That worry that's eaten up your energy, that impossible expectation, that need for things to go perfectly. How would your life feel if, instead of wasting strength on what you can't influence, you invested it into what you actually can? Marcus Aurelius put it simply, "Let things flow, do not force them." Because peace doesn't come from bending the world. It comes from understanding your power lies within, in your thoughts, in your reactions, in your attitude. So here's what you do every morning. Ask yourself, is this in my control? If the answer is no, let it go. Refocus your attention on your discipline, your decisions, your mindset. That's where your real power lives. And if something external tries to steal your peace today, breathe. Then whisper to yourself, I let go of what is not in my control. Now tell me, my friend, what are you letting go of today? Comment below, because letting go is the first step toward a life of real inner freedom. So you see, one small decision, choosing to speak the right words to yourself each morning, can shift the entire course of your life. Just like Zeno, it wasn't what he lost, but how he responded that defined his legacy. Today, I will be better than yesterday. Do you know who that merchant really was? The one who lost everything, but didn't give up? That man was Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism. It wasn't his fortune or ships that made history remember him. It was what he chose to tell himself after losing it all. That loss, it became the very path that led him to become one of the most influential minds of all time. Now let me ask you this, how many times have you remained trapped in what didn't go your way? In a failed plan, a missed opportunity, or a painful disappointment? But what if, like Zeno, you made a different choice? What if, instead of staying stuck in yesterday's darkness, you simply whispered to yourself, today, I will be better than yesterday? Marcus Aurelius said, look within. Within you is the fountain of good. And that good, that potential, awakens every single morning if you choose it. You don't need to be flawless. You don't need to make giant leaps. All you need is one small step toward a better version of yourself. Each day is a blank page. What will you write? Will you copy-paste yesterday's struggles? Or will you craft a new chapter of growth? Start small. Clean your desk. Take a short walk. Read one page. Learn one new thing. And tonight, ask yourself, what did I learn today that I didn't know yesterday? That question, repeated daily, becomes a mirror of your progress. And when it comes to comparison, compare yourself only with who you were yesterday. You're not here to outdo others. You're here to outgrow your past self. You don't need massive change, just 1% better, every single day. Because with time, that tiny improvement becomes unstoppable momentum, and someday you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. So, let me ask you one last thing for today. Will you remain the same? Or will you rise above yesterday, even just a little? If today you take just one step forward, you've already surpassed the person you were yesterday. But to do that, you must conquer the biggest enemy standing in your way: fear. Today, I face the day without fear. No matter what comes my way, I will not stop. Because here's the truth: fear only has power if you give it power. Psychology has confirmed this over and over again. Fear is a natural reaction of the brain. It's a defense mechanism triggered by uncertainty, but here's the catch. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real danger and imagined fear. If you constantly dwell on worst-case scenarios, if you let yourself spiral into anxiety over what might happen, your body will react as if those dangers are real. Let's be honest, if you find a giant spider in your garden, running away is understandable. That's instinct, but if you've got a big presentation at work and you feel that same urge to escape, ask yourself, is there really a spider in the room? Probably not. Now, don't get me wrong. Fear is part of being human. I'm simply asking you to pause and talk to yourself so you can learn to separate real danger from illusion. You know who understood this better than anyone? The Stoics. To them, fear wasn't an enemy, but a teacher. Their goal wasn't to eliminate fear, but to stop letting it control their decisions. Do you think Marcus Aurelius, in the midst of war, leading an empire, hid inside his tent, trembling over what might happen? Of course not. He knew the only way to overcome fear was to face it head-on and keep moving forward. As he wrote in Meditations, if you face adversity with fear, you suffer twice. Once from the fear itself, and once from the actual hardship. Fear doesn't vanish because you wish it away. It disappears when you act in spite of it. It's like a shadow, large and intimidating from a distance. But as you step closer, you realize it's just an illusion. So let me ask, how many times have you let fear hold you back? How many chances slipped away because your mind said, you're not ready? Well, today is not the day to hide. If there's something you're afraid to do, do it anyway. Don't wait until you feel ready. You may never feel ready. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after the first step. Start small, but start. And when fear tries to whisper, remind yourself like a warrior. No matter what comes, I will not stop, because fear only wins when you surrender. And today is not that day. Remember what we just explored, how obstacles are really stepping stones in disguise. Now let's look even deeper. In the face of any situation, how you respond shapes your future. It's time to take the wheel. Es triste. My decisions guide my life. Every morning you wake up, you're not just beginning a day. You're facing a chance to decide what direction your life will take. And to make sure you never forget that power, say this to yourself: my decisions guide my life. Because here's the truth: if you don't make your own choices, someone else will gladly make them for you. Life is like standing at a crossroads. If you don't pick a path, you'll be swept along by other people's plans. Think of Oprah Winfrey. As a child, she endured poverty, abuse, rejection. She could have given in, but she didn't. She made a decision to be the author of her own future. That's why today her success isn't a miracle. It's the result of conscious, courageous choices. And what about you? How many times have you let fear decide for you? How often have you said, it's not the right time, and let the moment pass? Picture this. You're offered a new job. Better pay, more growth, but it pushes you out of your comfort zone. You can hesitate and say, I'm not ready. Or you can look in the mirror and say, my decisions guide my life and I choose growth. And when you take that leap, you might just realize it was exactly the step you needed. It's like a ship in the ocean. Without a clear direction, the current will take you anywhere. Seneca put it best. If a man doesn't know what port he's sailing to, no wind is favorable. Every time you delay a decision, you're choosing to stay stuck. Not choosing is a choice, and it's often the one that keeps you standing still. So, before you walk out the door today, say it clearly. My decisions guide my life. Don't wait for a perfect moment. It will never come. The moment is now. And now, get ready, because what comes next is what makes everything else matter. The decision that defines not just what you do, but who you choose to become. We just spoke about letting your decisions shape your life. Now let's end this morning ritual with the most powerful declaration of all, that you choose to live with greatness. Not because it's easy, but because you decide to. 12. Today I choose greatness. If you want to be strong, rise with determination. If you want to be disciplined, do what you said you would do. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's simple. Be who you want to be. No matter how hard it gets, there's no magic formula, no shortcuts, just choices. And today, you get to decide who you are. So when you look in the mirror, say it out loud. Today, I choose to live with greatness. Not because everything is in your favor, not because you're perfectly ready, but because this is your life, and only you can make it truly worthwhile. Don't wait another day. Start now. Building the life you want isn't a matter of luck. It's a matter of choice. Every morning is a chance to define who you're going to be, what energy you'll bring, and how you'll face whatever life throws at you. You may not control what happens, but you absolutely control what you tell yourself, and that changes everything. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "My words are my greatness." That way, I'll know who the true Stoics, warriors are, the ones who stayed until the end. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a like so you won't miss what's coming next. And I invite you to check out the playlist on your screen. It's filled with powerful stories, reflections, and timeless ideas to help you live with clarity and purpose. Click it, and let's keep walking forward together. Until next time, take care and keep embracing your inner Stoic.